to have a really short talk about Imam Hussein and the battle of Al-Daf. And I want all the youth, to have full attention. No iPhones or S5, no games, full attention to the talk. So the Battle of Karbala happened really in a few hours, like 2 or 3 hours maximum. And people, during the whole course of history, they are repeating this every year. They are discussing the Battle of Karbala every year. Because of the value that happens only in this 3 hours or 2 hours. It's short in time, but the value or the values within the battle itself is huge. And I think it's enough for the whole human history to study it and analyze it in depth. So that was one of the reasons, I think personally, that Shia community, they try to dissect the event in this 2 hours along the course of the 10 days. So the Shia started to assign, okay, let's say the ninth night of Muharram is for Ali al-Akbar, for example, and the 6th is for another family member of Imam Hussein, and the 10th is for Imam Hussein, and so on. So tonight is assigned to the companions, to Ashab al-Imam al-Hussein. Because Ashab al-Imam al-Hussein, or the companion of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, they have a huge role in his battle, in his fight against injustice. And I think one of the most significant figures among the companions of Imam Hussein alayhi salam is Al-Hurr ibn Yazid al-Riyahi. Like, reading about this figure or listening about this significant figure is just amazing. Like, honestly, we can learn a lot of things that we can apply on our daily life. Like, whatever really happened with him, the transition that happens, we can apply it on our daily life. So just a background of who is this guy and what he really did in that day. So Al-Hurr ibn Yazid al-Riyahi, he was a guy from Kufa, and then he was with the army of Yazid. And the regime, the Yazidi regime, assigned him to go to Imam Hussein once he arrived to Iraq or close to Kufa, to bring Imam Hussein to Yazid. And he was a commander. He listened to the commands of Yazid, and he went to face Imam Hussein. He went there, he saw Imam Hussein, and Imam Hussein, with his morals, it was the time of Dhuhr prayers. So he asked him, Imam Hussein asked Al-Hurr, would you please be an imam for us and we can pray? And that's Imam Hussein, huh? This is the son or the grandson of the Prophet. It's not a regular man, that he asked Al-Hurr to be imam for him. And nowadays we fight. Is this imam is really enough? Is he good enough to pray behind him? We have a lot of this discussion these days. But Imam Hussein, he didn't even pay attention to this. He invited Al-Hurr to be an imam. That was the first encounter between Imam Hussein and Al-Hurr. And Imam Hussein, he felt that this guy really has a good moral inside him. And the days went until one of the nights or one of the days, Al-Hurr party or his army, they didn't have water. So they went to Imam Hussein and he asked for water from Imam Hussein. See how this is gonna flip in 10 days, and then Imam Hussein will come and ask for water. And Imam Hussein said, yes, absolutely. Having a water is a necessity for a human being. And definitely we'll give you all water and your horses too. And Imam Hussein knows that this guy is against him, he's not a friend. He's coming to take Imam Hussein to Yazid. But even though Imam Hussein acted with this high morals that Islam came and asked us to follow. Then Al-Hurr, he didn't really realize what's really happening. He knew that this is Imam Hussein, that this is the grandson, but he didn't really knew what is the details behind the order of Yazid and why he's asking him to bring Imam Hussein back to Damascus or Sham. So the two important things that Al-Hurr represented is one, is the high moral. Yes, he wasn't at the beginning, he wasn't with Imam Hussein, but he had this high morals that he acted with Imam Hussein. And one of the examples here that represent this is when Imam Hussein asked Al-Hurr that I'm leaving, I'm going to Kufa or to Karbala. Yazid said, no, I have command from Yazid that I have to bring you, and I will not let you go to there. Here Imam Hussein get mad, and he said in Arabic, ثَكَلَتْكَ أُمُّكَ, that he prayed that I wish your mom never given a birth to you. And that's a big deal. Yes, it's a polite way to say it, but that was a big deal too. Al-Hurr, he wasn't a regular man. He was a man with honor, and he won't let anyone to say. But because he had this high morals, the way he answered Imam Hussein said, I cannot say exactly the same, because who is your mother? Your mother is Fatima al-Zahra, and I cannot curse Fatima al-Zahra. See, yes, he was against Imam Hussein, but he knew the value of Imam Hussein. He knew who is Imam Hussein, who is the mother of Imam Hussein, what occupation Imam Hussein has among the Muslim society. So that's what was one of the messages, that having high morals is always good, even with your enemies, even with your people that you don't agree with. But with morals, you can accept others. So that's message number one that we can learn from Al-Hurr. Message number two, and that's very important message as well, is to be a free thinker. And Al-Hurr in English mean the free guy, in a very simple way to translate it. So Al-Hurr was a free guy. Yes, he was from the army of Yazid, but he had a brain as well. He could think. So when he saw this confusion between the two ideas of Imam al-Hussein coming and trying to liberate others and trying to fight against injustice, and then when he compared what Yazid wanted, he said, no, I think I need to take an action. And this is really a hard action. And we face this every day. Because we're going with a group, we're coming to this center, or we're going to a different place. It's really hard to change your mindset. It's really hard. Whether it's going deep into Islam, if you are so liberal and you want to be more religious guy, it's really hard. That first step is really hard. Or vice versa. So change is really something that people usually try to avoid. It's always good to live in the shell that you used to live in it. Going outside the comfort zone, what they call it, is hard. But Hurr, he was a good representation of this. Because going outside this shell of comfort is a great thing to do. Especially if you are going to something with high value. Going from an army of Yazid and trying to fight with Imam Hussein against injustice. So I think by these two messages I wrap up my talk for tonight. And let's end it by Salat ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad.